And thank you all for joining us as we come together to honor and remember Detective Jason Rivera. To begin, I'm going to ask everyone to please rise for the presentation of our nation's colors and the singing of the national anthem by Police Officer Heather Austin.
Attention! Present all!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the red hearts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Order!
Thank you, Officer Austin. Please remain standing for the invocation by Police Department Chaplain, Reverend Jonathan Rackabaron.
Already ready.
God, we give you thanks this day as we gather to remember the life of Detective Jason Rivera. We pray for Dominique, Wesley, Doñana, Daniel, Jeffrey, extended family and friends, as we vow never to forget Detective Rivera's sacrifice for our city. God, we pray for all of our line of duty families and those who grieve the loss of a loved one, protecting and serving our city. Provide our members of the service with your loving care as they sacrifice themselves each day for the sake of all. Amen.
Attention!
Thank you, Reverend Rackabaron. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It's now my pleasure to introduce the members seated on our dais. Please hold all your applause until all have been introduced. Starting on the right, the President of the Police Benevolent Association, Patrick Hendry.
Good morning.
The Commanding Officer of the 3-2 Precinct, Inspector Amir Yakatali.
Good morning.
Commanding Officer Patrol Borough Manhattan North, Assistant Chief Ruel Stevenson.
Good morning.
The Chief of Department, Jeffrey Madry.
Good morning.
The Police Commissioner of the City of New York, the Honorable Edward Cavan. The Mayor of the City of New York, the Honorable Eric Adams.
Good morning.
Representing the 10th District, Councilwoman Carmen Della Rosa. Representing the 13th District, Congressman Adriano Espaillat. New York State Attorney General, the Honorable Letitia James. Police Department Chaplain, Reverend Jonathan Rackabaron. And the President of the Detectives Endowment Association, Paul DiGiacomo. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our dais, and we thank them for being here today. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the Police Commissioner of the City of New York, the Honorable Edward Cavan.
Good morning, everyone. It is my honor to welcome you to Detective Jason Tata Rivera Way. Thank you all for coming here to honor and celebrate Jason. To the Rivera family, Dominique, Anna, Daniel, Jeffrey, Wesley, and to all of Jason's loved ones, we are here for you, and we will always be here for you, wherever and whenever you need us. That is a promise that every generation of the NYPD will keep. Today we are dedicating a part of our city in Jason Rivera's name. But it's not just any part. It's important that we are here on this particular block. This is where Jason's father dropped him off at school. This is where Jason and his friends hung out and spent time together as kids. And this is where Jason grew up and where he became a remarkable man we've all come to know. And now, a truly special place is dedicated forever in honor of a truly special person. Jason's story is a story of this neighborhood, of Inwood, and the amazing people who live and work here. Is a classic New York story, a city that transformed itself block to block like nowhere else, where a young man from an immigrant family can build a life, start a family of his own, begin a promising career, and always have a place to call home. Jason loved this community, so much so that he made it his life's work to protect it and to keep the people he cared about safe. That was the life he chose, and that life was ended far too soon. But the mark that Jason left on our lives, that will never fade, because we will keep telling his story on this block and everywhere else, each and every chance we get, and he will be a son of Inwood forever. I want to thank everyone who made this day possible. Mayor Adams, Councilwoman De La Rosa, my good friend, Congressman Espiat, the 3-4 precinct for hosting us this morning, and every member of the 3-2 precinct who keeps Jason's legacy strong. The Moores are also with us this morning, and these two families are linked forever. Thank you for being here to support Jason, just as the Rivera family was there to support you at Wilbert's ceremony 2 months ago. You are models of incredible strength and true courage, and we are here for you always. Please help me give them a round of applause. Finally, to Jason's NYPD family, thank you for all you do. You understand more than anyone what it means to do this job. You know the dangers. Despite it all, you are out there every day continuing Jason's important work. That is how we honor him and how we renew the promises we made to him and his family. We cannot bring him back, but we will never let him go. May God bless Jason, the Rivera family, and every member of the NYPD. And may God bless all of you.
Thank you, Commissioner Finn. It's now my pleasure to introduce the commanding officer of the 3-2 precinct, Inspector Amir Yakatali.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here today. A day that we gather yet again to continue to pledge our resolve to honor Jason Rivera and his sacrifice. A day we further hail his impact and profound legacy, a legacy now cemented as a beacon of hope for anyone who knows his story. Today we rename the corner of 204th Street and Sherman Avenue Detective Jason Tata Rivera Way. To add a name to a city street holds its own significance, because it's not just one person making that decision. This required a cross-sector collaboration, as this could not happen without community buy-in and support. I would like to thank Mayor Eric Adams and Police Commissioner Edward Caban for their presence and unwavering support over the last 20 months. Councilwoman Carmen De La Rosa of District 10 for sponsoring the sign, along with Community Board 10 for their approval. We thank Inspector Nudi Castillo and his team at 3-4 NIDO, the DEA, PBA, the Department of Transportation, and all other city organizations and agencies and individuals involved in putting this event together. And a special thank you to Chief Clint McPherson and the Family Assistance Unit for your tireless dedication to our line of duty families. Having Jason's name up on this corner holds significance in ways very different from the memorial walls in Washington and in Albany. On those walls, he's larger than life. He represents law enforcement and bravery in its purest form. Here, it is personal. He's not only the hero, Detective Jason Rivera. To the people in this neighborhood, he's just Jason, or Tata. And that name comes with personal stories and memories from those closest. Many will walk on this street and some will stare at his mural and the Jason Tata Rivera way, pausing to reflect on a story of heroism. A story we continue to herald so that his son, Wesley, and his nephew, Jason, will learn his tale and recognize how powerful an impact he has had on us all. Anyone curious enough can look him up and find countless descriptions of Jason, the police officer that took this job for all the right reasons. A man who embodied what we all envision an officer should be. The young children that attend this school will always remember the name Jason Rivera, along with his smiling image. At the very least, they will know he was a police officer from their neighborhood, and it will shape their perception of officers as well as countless others who pass by. Then there is the significance that this is Jason's home, his roots, where he went to school and grew up, where the most intimate stories of Jason's life on this block live with his family. For Danielle, Anna, Jeffrey, and Dominique, today they bring his name back home where he belongs. There are so many ways that Jason will live on. For us at the 3-2, he will continue to be known as the young, enthusiastic cop that inspired those around him in life and will continue to do so in his passing. We owe it to Jason and the Rivera family to maintain his honor and his integrity through our work. This street naming reminds the residents of this great city that there are those who are putting their lives on the line every day so that their sons and daughters can walk to school safely, can drive safely, and just go about their day-to-day in peace. Today, we celebrate the Detective Jason Tata Rivera Way, a symbol for a son, brother, husband, hero, and a father. A symbol of love and light. A symbol to never forget. Thank you.
And thank you, Inspector Iacatelli. It is now my pleasure to introduce Congressman Adriano Espaillat.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor, Commissioner, Police Department, NIDO. Thank you for the work that you do in our community. Dennis presides over NIDO. And to... Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you.
Yo, this is not the time for this, my man. This ain't the time.
This is a solemn event. Let's respect the memory of Detective Rivera.
It ain't the time for that, B. Get out of here. Alright?
All right.
Get out of here, B.
Okay. I want to thank the family also who's here today and Councilwoman De La Rosa who sponsored the legislation for this street to bear the name of a hero from immigrant family, from a Dominican family. Next year I will be mayor 60 years here in northern Manhattan. And our community, the Dominican community, has had 2 horrible days. The first one was Flight 587, when we lost many people going back to the Dominican Republic. And the second day, horrible day for our community, was when we lost two of our own, Officer Mora and Officer Rivera. And although the memory may never fade and the pain will never go away, this corner will bear the name of Officer Rivera. And as I see his son and his nephew, I know that just one day, the grandmother or the grandfather will tell them, when you get out of school, I'll meet you on 204th Street and Detective Rivera's way. And that means a lot, because for 100 years, 200 years, that name will be there. Long after we're gone, that name will be there. And that's the legacy, that stands for the legacy that he left behind. And although he's from Dominican roots, he belonged to the whole city. Not just us, but everybody in the city. And that's what we're here to celebrate today. His legacy, his work, and the family that brought him up in this neighborhood that they call home, they still call home, and that we're trying to lift up every single day. So I thank you, Mayor, Commissioner, and the Councilwoman, but most importantly, the family and the children that are here with us today, who will forever remember Detective Rivera and the great work that he did for the city of New York. God bless you and keep the faith.
And thank you, Congressman Espaillat. It's now my pleasure to introduce the president of the Detectives Endowment Association, Paul DiGiacomo.
Good morning to all, and it's truly an honor to be here today. Mr. Mayor, Police Commissioner, the Mora family, and the Rivera family. His parents, Anna and Daniel, Jeffrey and his family, and the amazing wife, Dominique. Your strength never ceases to amaze us. And your beautiful new addition, Wesley. Look at that face, so beautiful. He's all posing for the cameras already. God bless him. We are here today to forever continue in our quest with your family to keep Jason's name alive. Keep it alive and keep it vibrant. And this street renaming today is one step closer to keeping his name alive and vibrant. And we will continue to do that. Every day that life goes on, there is someone or some story that will bring back the life of Detective Jason Rivera. The people here are on a mission. Everyone here in this neighborhood, everyone in this department is on a mission to keep your husband, your father's hero name alive. And you have our commitment that we will always do that. And as you know, Jason lost his life as a police officer. But we were fortunate now that he was promoted to detective, and we are so honored and privileged to have you as part of the DEA family. And our heart's always open to you, and our door is always open to you. And God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. It's now my pleasure to introduce the president of the Police Benevolent Association, Patrick Hendry.
Good morning. I want to thank the Rivera family for allowing me to say a few words. The Mora family, thank you in our hearts. We're here today to honor a true hero for an act of bravery. But that act of bravery didn't just happen the night he gave his life. It happened before that. The bravest thing that Jason Rivera did is when he raised his right hand and gave the oath to become a New York City police officer. Becoming a police officer is a calling, and Jason was called. He was called to make an impact in the NYPD in New York City. And he answered that call because he had that bravery woven in his heart and in his soul. But that bravery wasn't just going towards danger. That bravery was to protect and was to connect with people, to make a difference where he worked, in the community where he lived. That was Jason Rivera. That's what he was about. And we know the stories about Jason. We know he wanted to come on this job. We know he loved being a police officer. We know he loved working with police officers, especially his brothers and sisters from the 3-2 precinct. And we know that a story from himself, that he wanted the community and police officers to unite so that we can protect each other together. And he accomplished that goal. We know he did, because we have the community here, we have police officers here coming together to celebrate his life. And this street sign, it's not gonna bring back Jason's life, not gonna bring him back, but his bravery will live on. And the hope is that one day, someone in this neighborhood will have that bravery woven in the heart and soul and pin that shield of a New York City police officer and follow in the footsteps of a true hero, Jason Rivera. God bless this family. God bless you all.
Thank you, Patrick. It's now my pleasure to introduce Councilwoman Carmen De La Rosa.
I want to thank Mayor Adams, Commissioner Caban, all of the men and women of the 34th Precinct, of the NYPD, of the 32nd Precinct who are here, all of our colleagues who are here, from senators to assembly members to commissioners to our Attorney General. Most of all, I want to thank the Rivera family, La Familia Rivera, the Mora family, La Familia Mora. We are here because although we recognize the significance and the legacy and the mark that has been left by Detective Jason Rivera on our city and in the world, this is personal. These are the streets that we walk every single day. These are the streets that Jason walked every single day. These are the streets that he chose to live, protect, bring his family to, be raised by a humble family. I had the honor and the pleasure of sitting down with Ana and Daniel just a few weeks ago. Hace una semana me senté, and I think I had the best coffee I've had in a really long time. And I had the honor of speaking to them about the man that they raised, el hombre que ellos criaron. Someone who everyone can agree is a hero, but also was someone who was a genuinely good guy. Jason represents all the best that Dyckman has to offer. I grew up just around the corner from here, and I know what it is to be Dyckman strong. I believe that Jason represents all of the dreams that the young people in our community have for this city. He carried those dreams with him. Those are the dreams that made him brave to come back to our community and say, I want to give of myself. And he made a sacrifice that no family should have to endure. Our hearts break for your family. Nuestros corazones se rompen por ustedes. But we know that the legacy of Jason is far greater than a street sign, is far greater than any honor that we can give because of the person that our community will remember him to be. So today, I want to thank you, le quiero dar la gracia a la familia, for giving us a corner of the world where this community can come and mourn a local hero. Darnos una esquina donde nosotros podemos venir y depositar nuestras oraciones, nuestras lágrimas, nuestros deseos y nuestros recuerdos de su hijo, de su hermano, de su esposo, de su padre. Thank you for giving us the honor of recognizing what Jason means to the world, but also what he means to us here on Dykeman, on the corner of 204 and Sherman. Thank you.
And thank you, Councilwoman De La Rosa. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Mayor of the City of New York, the Honorable Eric Adams.
Todo se hace en el tiempo de Dios. I struggle all the time when I come to these moments when we lose people and heroes so young. And as I sat here watching this impressive display of our elected officials on the city, state, and local level, and seeing the visionary mindset of our councilwomen for understanding the significance of not only naming a corner after Jason, but the word that was used. This is not Jason's street. This is not Jason Avenue. This is not Jason's road. This is Jason's way. And when you saw the display, as I thought in my mind of what is the most profound way that we can dignify the heroic status of one of our own, out of nowhere, I heard someone disrupt a hero in this community, Congressman Espaillat. People are in so much pain. And when you have pain, you have to turn that pain into purpose. Going to the origin of Jason wanting to be a police officer. He saw the painful moment of his brother being stopped and frisked unjustly by a police officer. Instead of yelling out, instead of using hatred, he took that painful moment and turned it into purpose. He found a purposeful way of carrying out what he was experiencing. And he did not stop there by adorning the blue uniform of a police officer or pinning the shield on his chest. He joined the Dykeman Run Club. To encourage other young people. He volunteered. He was a symbol of strength. He was a symbol of manhood, of who we want our young men to be. And then you watch his beautiful wife, who he loved, true definition of romance, understanding that something was wrong that I did not hear from my other half. Something I'm feeling is not right. And I would say over and over again, as I stated at Rochelle Boone's funeral earlier this week, it was the energy. Energy can't be destroyed. It just transforms itself, and we just have to acknowledge the existence of it. Your husband is still here, still among us. His energy is still here. And we just have to welcome the presence of it. And we have such a role to do. I don't know why God took this beautiful hero from us at this moment. But I also question that 33 years old, by some scholars, he also took his only son, Jesus, from us. But it split history from AD to BC, and we defined how we judge time through the name of Jesus. Today, we're defining how we define this way based on Jason's life. Someone is going to walk by here and look up and ask, who was Detective Jason Rivera? Someone is going to be on the wrong path to do something harmful and realize the significance of this moment. He's the ambassador that is telling the story of the Dominican community that has contributed so much to the city and country. He's become a symbol of what's great about the dedication and the love affair between a dad and a mom and a brother, and the character and the dignity. It's such an important moment. It's a painful moment, but it's a purposeful moment. And I can't answer the questions that lingered over us on how long God wants us to exist in. Because it doesn't get any easier if we lose a loved one at 21 or 101. And I know it's unnatural for mothers to bury their sons and dad to bury their sons. I know that. But I also know my heart is so ingrained in the belief in God. God has a purpose for everything. And everything is done on his time and in his way. In every dark moment that I've experienced, I realized it was a moment for me to understand there was something I needed to come out of that moment with. And I don't have the answers. I don't know what to say to soothe your pain. But all I can tell you, you and your beautiful child, that your husband is still with you. If you close your eyes, you still feel him. You still hear his voice, you still hear his sound, you still hear a fragrance, you still remember something silly he may have done and you may smile. He's still here. Energy never dies, it just transforms. Take that transformation. It's going to be part of your forever journey. And I truly thank you, Councilwoman. This is such an important moment for all of us, for what you're doing to allow us to see. Jason didn't live life through our way. He didn't live life through someone else's way. He lived life through his way. And today, we are naming the street in the community Jason Rivera's Way. Thank you.
And thank you, Mayor Adams. It's now my honor to introduce Detective Jason Rivera's wife, Mrs. Dominique Rivera.
Good morning. I want to start by thanking each of you for being here today and showing up for Jason. You would think that as time goes by, the pain and grief shrink. But the truth is, you learn to grow around the grief. And because of that, I can stand in front of all of you today filled with so much joy and pride. Today we come together to remember and celebrate the little boy who grew up in this neighborhood. The little boy with chubby cheeks, dimples, and a bright smile. The little boy who would sit in front of building steps, talking and joking with his friends, not knowing the impact he would have on all of us today. As many of you know, Jason joined the NYPD to improve the relationship between his community and the police. Jason was so proud to wear his blue uniform and be part of the NYPD, but more importantly, to protect and serve his community. And I cannot think of a better way to honor and celebrate him than to have a street name after him in his Inwood neighborhood. Words can't describe the amount of gratitude I have for all of you. I hope that whenever someone passes by the street and reads Jason's name, they are reminded of his sacrifice and feel encouraged, motivated, and inspired to go after their dreams. Thank you to everybody who made this possible and for the unwavering support that our family has received throughout our most difficult times. Starting from our former Commissioner Sewell, whose words and heartfelt sentiments always brought comfort and upliftment. To our current Commissioner Caban, Mayor Adams, the 3-2 Precinct, Nito, and Council Member Carmen De La Rosa. Thank you.
And thank you, Mrs. Rivera. At this time, I'd like to invite the Rivera family to join the members of our dais and our dignitaries in the audience over to the corner for the unveiling. Tata. Positions, whether may have Sherman on this we remember that it is the way. Was the way, but more importantly, we ask God that is the gentlemen, on behalf